Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to invite the Honorable Vice President, not just to Estonia, but to address all of us today. Please join me in welcoming him with a round of applause.
धन्यवाद जी। श्री संजय श्यामराव धोत्रे, केंद्र सरकार में मंत्री, श्री मानस रंजन बुनिया, सदस्य राज्यसभा पश्चिम बंगाल, श्री रमेश बिधूरी, सदस्य लोकसभा दिल्ली, श्रीमती रानी नारा, सदस्य राज्यसभा असम, श्री आई.वी. सुब्बाराव, सेक्रेटरी टू वाइस प्रेसिडेंट, श्री गीतेश शर्मा, सेक्रेटरी विदेश मंत्रालय, और डॉक्टर अंजू कुमार, जॉइंट सेक्रेटरी, और आज इस समारोह में आए हुए सभी भारतीय बंधु और बहनों, मैं सचमुच में मन में बहुत प्रसन्न हूँ, क्योंकि हम इस्टोनिया में जो रह रहे हमारे भारतीय मूल नागरिक आप लोगों से मिलने का सुअवसर हमको मिला है। लिथुआनिया, लैटविया और आज इस्टोनिया पूरा करके हम लोग आज रात को वापस जा रहे हैं भारत को। तो इसी समय में आप लोगों से मिलने का जो सुअवसर मिला, इससे मैं मन में बहुत प्रसन्न हूँ। जैसा कहा गया, राष्ट्रपति महोदय, प्रधानमंत्री महोदय और सेनेट का अध्यक्ष महोदय, इन लोगों से मिलने का अवसर मिला। उनसे अलग अलग विषयों के ऊपर, द्विपाक्षिक संबंधों के ऊपर, ट्रेड के ऊपर, कॉमर्स के ऊपर और कल्चर एक्सचेंज के ऊपर, एजुकेशन, आईटी, ये सभी क्षेत्रों में दोनों के बीच में संबंध और भी सुदृढ़ कैसा बने, इन विषयों के बारे में हमने खुलकर चर्चा किया। और साथ ही साथ यहाँ एक हमारा भारतीय वाणिज्य मंडली भी काफ़ी लोग आए, और यहाँ का जो एस्टोनिया वाणिज्य मंडली, उनके साथ भी हमारा लोग उनके साथ बैठे और आपस में चर्चा किया क्या क्या यहाँ अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ है और कौन सी इलाका में हम लोग यहाँ काम कर सकते हैं और यहाँ का लोग हमारा देश में इन्वेस्ट कर सकते हैं। इन विषयों के बारे में काफ़ी चर्चा हुआ। बाद में मैं और प्रधानमंत्री भी जाके वाणिज्य मंडली सदस्यों को संबोधित किया। तो और मुझे बहुत संतुष्ट है, ये तीनों देश का यात्रा के दौरान मैंने एक विषय देखा, यहाँ तीनों देशों में भारत के बारे में, भारतीय संस्कृति और परंपरा के बारे में बहुत श्रद्धा है, और साथ ही साथ महात्मा गांधी जी के बारे में भी लोगों में बहुत श्रद्धा है, और शांति और अहिंसा, इन विषयों में जैसा भारत ने पूरा दुनिया के सामने एक अच्छा उदाहरण प्रस्तुत किया, इन विषयों से भी ये लोग बहुत प्रभावित है और वो भारत का नज़दीक आना चाहते। हम भी चाहते दुनिया में सभी देशों के साथ हमारा संबंध अच्छा हो। इसी सिलसिले में राष्ट्रपति, उपराष्ट्रपति, प्रधानमंत्री, हम लोग अलग अलग देशों में जाए तो वहाँ का सरकार के साथ ही साथ हमारा भारतीय नागरिक जो रह रहे, उन लोगों के साथ भी हम मिलते हैं। बिकॉज यू आर दी रियल एम्बेसडर्स ऑफ इंडिया in this country. I feel very happy to meet you all today, this evening, before my departure back to our motherland. I would like to convey my sincere felicitation to the people and the government of Estonia for the restoration of Independence Day, which was celebrated yesterday. It gives me great pleasure to be in Estonia on my first visit to this beautiful country. This is not only beautiful, people are also dutiful. If duty and beauty come together, then they can become mighty. So this progress of this country is remarkable. Such a short period, small country, making such a progress and becoming a digital country is something really remarkable. Estonia has earned the reputation of being a successful democracy, well-integrated member of the European Union and a digital state, one of the global leaders in e-governance and digital services. My dear friends, Estonia and India share friendly bilateral ties. Irrespective of the distance between our respective nations and the different sizes of our countries, population and economies, there is immense potential for enhancing bilateral engagement in many fields. During my interaction with the Estonian leadership today, we agreed to strengthen bilateral cooperation in e-governance, cyber security, among other matters. Our bilateral trade has grown steadily, but still there is a lot of scope because it's only 172 million per annum. There is a far greater untapped potential. My dear sisters and brothers and youngsters, I am very happy to know that Indian community in Estonia has done well and having integrated with Estonia's society and culture while preserving their roots. My advice to all the Indians who are working here, keep in touch with your roots. Whoever comes to abroad, other countries, my advice to them, including youngsters, is go. No problem in going because we also have enough population nowadays. Go, learn, earn, and return. At the end of the day, you have to come back to your motherland to serve your country. And now the world is open. We are living in an era of LPG, liberalization, privatization, globalization. There are vast opportunities awaiting us, and India is known for its knowledge, intelligence, and also once upon a time were known as Vishwaguru. Students from across the globe, they used to come to Nalanda, Takshashila at that time, and Vikramshila and other places. Even not only, this is not what I am saying, Yuan Song, Pahian, Chinese historians came and wrote about India's greatness at that time itself. Such is the past of India. So that being the case, we should spread across the globe, spread the message of peace and love and peaceful coexistence. You all know the basic philosophy of India is Vasudaika Kutumbakam. The entire world is one family. Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu. All people should live in happiness and prosperity. Share and care is the core of Indian philosophy. Sharing and caring for others is the core of Indian philosophy. So that being the case, we should spread our culture. My advice to all of you, you are in Estonia. Follow the Estonian rules, regulations, stipulations, and be friendly with the people who have given you this hospitality or opportunity. At the same time, do not forget your roots, your culture, your heritage, your tradition, which is given to you by your forefathers. That's why wherever I go, I'm suggesting 5 things to be remembered. 1, everybody should remember mother forever. The mother who has given you this beautiful birth, you should never forget her. Mother includes father also. Woman, W-O-M-A-N, man is there in every woman. Second is everybody should remember the mother, the Janma Bhumi, native place. Back home, you should do something to your native village. Third, the mother tongue, the language that has come from mother's womb. You should never, never forget it. Promote, propagate, profess mother tongue. That's my advice to all of you. Because bhasha or bhavana ek saath chalta hai. You'll be able to articulate better your views in your mother tongue. So we should not leave our mother tongue wherever we are, among the family members, with our relatives, with our friends, with back home, or among the people who speak our language. We should speak in our language only. The mother tongue is like eyesight. The other language is like spectacles. If you have eyesight, then spectacles will work. If you don't have sight, even if you wear Ray-Ban glasses, the sight will not improve. So that being the case, always promote mother tongue. That is very important. Because of the colonial rule and mindset, we started ignoring our mother tongue and learning other languages. Learning English, nothing wrong. Learning French, Russian, any language, even Estonian language you want to learn. But do not forget your mother tongue. That's my advice to you. And the fourth thing is motherland. The country which has given you beautiful birth, you should never forget it. You must always stand for its unity, integrity, safety and security. That is the need of the hour, your duty. Fifth is Guru, the Guru who has taught you lesson, who has given you training. You should never forget it. In spite of technological advancement, IT and even Google, but Google can never replace Guru. Guru is important. Even if there is something wrong with the net, Guru has to come to repair it also. So that is the importance of Guru. We should remember it forever throughout our life. Then, as I told you, you serve as an important node in our connect with Estonia and provide the foundations on which we can build greater synergies. Indian cuisine, Indian dance, Indian yoga, Indian music, Indian cinema, Indian food, as I was telling. All these things are very popular. I have been going around the globe everywhere. That's a trend. Even these three Baltic countries also, presidents and prime ministers, they are all telling me they are also fond of Indian food. And they are also talking about Indian Bollywood cinema. And one of the prime minister the other day told me in the other country, sir, with the Indian cinema, Sukumarudu is produced here. And he was showing me that bit of this thing, WhatsApp message also. So such is the interest. Such is the interest among the people. So we should really propagate. And also, as I told you, today's cultural program by Amrita Dance School, supposed to be there, it's impressive, that Indian culture has an appeal across borders. I am glad to see that Estonian Indian Friendship Society set up in 2004 has been playing an important role in connecting Indian and Estonian people and promoting Indian culture. My dear sisters and brothers, India has made significant progress in its journey over the last 70 years. It has emerged as one of the fastest growing economies of the world. By 2030, we will be $5 trillion US economy, the third largest consumer market in the world. World Bank, World Economic Forum, International Monetary Fund, Asian Development Bank, Moody's ratings, everybody is saying same. If India moves with the same speed, velocity, it will become the third largest economy in the world. That is the future of the country. And World Bank, recently we have seen, we have climbed 53 places in World Bank of ease of doing business. We are also laying down red carpet in place of red tape. Earlier, anybody coming for any work, people used to complain about red tape. Now the Prime Minister said, no red tape, red carpet. Everybody is welcome. 100% FDI also is now allowed in our country. The archaic regulations are being dismantled. Seamless, business-friendly processes are being introduced. All villages have been electrified in India. Our program of renewable energy, especially solar and wind, is a huge success. Committed to a sustainable and green future, we have set a target of producing 175 gigawatt of clean renewable energy by 2022. An ambitious plan to build next generation infrastructure, including 100 smart cities. I was also a minister for some time. When the smart city program was launched, I was urban development minister. 10 greenfield airports, 7 high-speed train corridors, bullet train is coming, 5 major ports, 111 waterways across the country, nationwide broadband connectivity, linking our villages and urban areas is underway. And you are all aware that the connectivity revolution was first brought by late Prime Minister Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee. He brought air connectivity, rail connectivity, highway connectivity, tele-connectivity, television connectivity, port connectivity, political connectivity also he brought in the country. He brought 23 parties together, ruled the country for 5 years. National highway, 4-way highway, it was his contribution. And even also now you have more than 120 crore telephone connections. And you also have 1,000 television channels. In the so many years, it used to be only one channel, Doordarshan. Dur se darshan karna, black and white dekhna. But today you have more than 1,000 channels, maybe more than that also. And you also have a vibrant democracy. We are the largest parliamentary democracy in the world. We have so many parties. We have 706 languages. We have 28 states. And then still we all work together. Alag bhasha, alag vesh, fir bhi apna ek desh. Vividhata mein ekata, Bharat ka viseshata. We may be wearing different dress. We may be speaking different languages, but we all are Indians. That unifying force is the culture, tradition, heritage which is given by our forefathers. Under Bharat Mala Pariyojana, 60,000 kilometers of national highway are being built. Nearly 10,000 kilometers of national highways were built during the last 1 year. That's an average of 27 kilometers per day. 111 rivers have been identified as national waterways, and we are also modernizing our railways. New metros in urban centers and dedicated freight corridors are being built. 130 regional UDAN, regional connectivity of airports also is being organized. We launched the path-breaking reforms, including the transformational, I can say the biggest revolutionary taxation transformation in the world is GST, which has been passed by our parliament, by all parties coming together to create a single unified market in India for the first time in its history. The rise in digital service and transaction to move towards a less cash and cashless economy is driven by our young population who provide the human resource pushing us into a digital age and fourth industrial revolution. The launch of Chandrayaan-2 illustrates the prowess of our scientists and the determination of 130 crore Indians to scale new frontiers of science. As the Prime Minister announced that ISRO will be launching Indian human spaceflight mission by 2022. Chandrayaan-2 is becoming a success it's a matter of 2-3 days. It will land at the moon. While we power up the GDP growth ladder, we remain deeply committed to ensure that the growth comes in an inclusive manner. All people should be part of the developmental story, taking care of the poorest of the poor, the suppressed, oppressed, depressed people, taking care of the last man sitting. That is the priority of the government. That's why the government is now issued a flagship Aadhaar project, 1.2 billion unique numbers, and we are also implementing a number of schemes and also opened up bank accounts, 6 crore 32 lakh bank accounts have been opened. And we are also now having Mudra Yojana, reaching the unreached, funding the unfunded, recognizing the unrecognized. This is the priority the Prime Minister set in. While Janadhana, Aadhaar and mobile, that is JAM, Janadhana, bank account, Aadhaar, identity, mobile. So scholarship, pension, compensation, insurance, your entitlement. You need not stand in line and go and meet somebody and do shake hand and do something in between hand. There is no such necessity now. The money will directly come to your bank account without any privilege. That is the way we are moving forward. If once that becomes successful, really, the people at the bottom, they will be more than happy. This is called as direct benefit transfer. It has gained tremendous strength. 36 crore new bank accounts have been opened under the direct benefit scheme. Funds from more than 400 schemes are being directly credited into accounts of beneficiaries. Since 14, 7.7 lakh crores have been transferred through DBT. Further, DBT has prevented transfer of 1.4 lakh crore to ineligible beneficiaries and enabled removal of 8 crore ineligible beneficiaries. This is one of the largest financial inclusion program in the world. Under Ujjwala program, we have made available clean LPG to 7 crore households. Ayushman Bharat is going to cover 10 crore people for the health scheme. Every person will get up to 5 lakh rupees free treatment for his problem. Our youth are also driving the digital revolution, powering the startup ecosystem and pioneering artificial intelligence. The Startup India flagship is intended to build a strong ecosystem for nurturing innovation and entrepreneurship in the country. Following the success of Swachh Bharat mission, we are now undergoing a Jala Shakti Abhiyan to provide tap water connection to every household by 2024. It's an ambitious, but with the support of all the stakeholders, we should be able to achieve that. I invite you all to join, to contribute the efforts and take part in India's development agenda. Overseas Indian community has been playing a very important role in the progress and development of our nation. There is a great opportunity today to enhance this contribution. My dear brothers and sisters, Indians abroad are facilitators. They identify new opportunities for collaboration and growth as we become a 5 trillion economy by 2024. and play a larger role in the global arena, I invite you to co-script our growth story along with other fellow citizens and the government. Before I conclude, I would like to share with you that the government has made it a priority to reach out the overseas community. To serve them better, we have strengthened our embassies to provide round-the-clock services so that no one in need is left unattended. We are utilizing social media and digital platforms such as Madad to deliver efficient public services. Visas and OCA cards have been made it easier for overseas Indians and foreign travelers to visit India. You may be interested to know what is happening back home in Kashmir. Kashmir is an integral part of India. And there is unnecessary, some Western media and our neighbor is trying to spread the wrong information and try to internationalize the issue. Kashmir is a domestic issue. It is one of the Indian states. It's part of India. In 1947, when Britishers left, all the states who are interested to join India, they joined. The accession was signed by the kings who are ruling different provinces. 565 provinces, they became part of India. Only in 3 provinces there was some problem. Junagadh and then Hyderabad because of Nizam Nawab. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel dealt with them, made them part of India. That's why we call him as an Iron Man of India and unifier of India. Jammu Kashmir, also Maharaja has signed accession. But there, because of one political leader, have insisted that they should have some special provision for some time. Temporary transitory, that is included in the constitution for time being. 72 years are over. Temporary means, how can you say 72 years are temporary? That's why the Indian Parliament, cutting across party lines, after thorough debate and discussion, Rajya Sabha approved it with 2/3 majority. Rajya Sabha, the ruling party, has no majority. But still, 2/3 people voted for that amendment. Lok Sabha, by 4/5 majority, has approved the total integration of Kashmir with the rest of India, because the so-called Article 370 has not been useful to the people of Jammu and Kashmir. Kashmiris were deprived to be integral part of the development story of the country. And there is also hot burning among Jammu, among Ladakh and other regions that they are being discriminated. And also because of certain provisions, the Prevention of Corruption Act, the CBI, the Supreme Court, and there are many 110 legislations of the Government of India, they could not be implemented in Kashmir. With this amendment, all these laws are equally applicable to all the people across the country, including Jammu and Kashmir. That's why people of the country are rejoicing it. Some people who developed vested interest, who are using this as a tool to indulge in corruption, to enjoy the benefit of both sides, and also who are trying to create some wedge between rest of India and part of Kashmir, they are only crying louder outside. Otherwise, there is no problem whatsoever. It's our internal matter. It's like an administrative matter. You make something, sometimes you divide Andhra and Telangana. You divide Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand and Uttarakhand. You make some arrangements here and there. You give some special provision for some time, some backwardness for the northeastern states. Similarly, some administrative changes have been made in Jammu Kashmir. Nothing more than that. And people are talking about, no, we must talk to Pakistan and all. If at all we have to talk to Pakistan, if Pakistan stops aiding, abetting, funding, training terrorism, then we can definitely talk to Pakistan with regard to the date and time when they are going to hand over Pakistani occupied Kashmir to India. That's why Indian Parliament has passed a resolution to that effect during late P.V. Narasimha Rao's prime ministership. Unanimously. That's a resolution of Indian Parliament. If at all they are interested to discuss it, we can discuss them. We want to have a peaceful coexistence with all. Let me make it very clear. I'm on a foreign soil. I know that. I made it very clear today. I met some 60 ambassadors of Estonia today. It's a very good opportunity for me to explain our point of view. There also we made it very clear. We want peaceful coexistence. We are not against anybody. We want peaceful coexistence, including with our neighbor. Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee, late Prime Minister, said, you can change your friends, but you cannot change your neighbor. But we want to change the neighbor's mindset, that's all. We don't want to change our neighbor. They should live happily. They should allow us also to live happily. They should follow peace, and we will also want to have peace. The Prime Minister Narendra Bhai Modi, when he became Prime Minister, he invited Pakistan Prime Minister for swearing-in ceremony. Something unusual. When there was a family function in Nawaz Sharif's house, and he was in Afghanistan and coming back, after receiving a phone call, Prime Minister Modi landed in Lahore without prior notice and all this protocol and security and all. That is the openness of our people. After all, Pakistan and India were together earlier. We were all part of the same country. Because of Britishers' divide and rule policy, that has been separated. Okay, that's part of the history. But we want to live in peace, in harmony. Let Pakistan understand this. Whatever they may do, whoever they may complain and all, we are not going to accept any outside interference at all. No mediation at all. No meddling, no mediation. What is required is peaceful coexistence. And we, from India's side, we are willing to work together, provided if they give up the policy, state policy of terror, encouraging terror. Terrorism is the enemy of mankind. All the three leaders of Lithuania and Latvia and also Estonia, they all told me they are one with us as far as the fighting terror is concerned. They are also extending support to India's case for United Nations Security Council. India accounts to 1/6 of world population. And you are not member of United Nations Security Council. What is this? 1/6 of the population, you don't have membership. So people, support is coming from different quarters to India to become member of the United Nations Security Council, permanent membership and all. We should, through our utterances, interactions, we should make the actual position clear to the people, whoever is entertaining some misunderstanding because of disinformation and misinformation. Because information with confirmation is more than an ammunition. We must understand that. And this is a disinformation has to be countered with actual information, because that's why I'm giving you the confirmation. That is a historical fact that Kashmir is part of India. It will remain to be India. Not even 1 inch of the land will be allowed to anybody. My dear youngsters who are all here, students, pursue your studies, earn good name, and also get fame for our country. And I'm told some of you are into business also, some of you have started startups. I wish you all the best for all of you. There are a lot of opportunities here, and there are a lot of opportunities back home in India also. Both ways you can utilize them. I wish each one of you all success in our careers and personal endeavors. I hope you will continue to cherish your Indian roots and the rich cultural tradition you inherited and nourish the socio-economic and cultural life of Estonia. We do not have a resident Indian mission in the Baltics. This is under consideration. In the meanwhile, each one of you is India's ambassador. Please continue to carry India's message to the world. Also bring back the best from other countries to India so that our country can advance much more rapidly. I hope this band of friendship and mutual trust between our nations and peoples grows stronger with time. I would like to thank you all for taking your time, precious time, and then coming to this evening reception. Thank you very much. Namaskar. Jai Hind.